All right. Welcome back. We're going to try and speed run this one, if that makes sense. We'll try a definite speed run. Now, this is a friend's computer. Okay, so anybody that's familiar with these is going to know what we're kind of in store for, but maybe not the solution. So, let's get right to it. I have to find the plug. So we have a little Dell plug here. Let's check the battery. See if we have any juice. I don't think the battery does not hold any juice, and it should tell us a thing about a thing. Or no, I guess we're using Dell on Dell. No, we're using HP on Dell, sorry. Is it going to whine about the battery, or is it just going to boot to Windows? Okay, so here's our problem. As you can see there, the battery is removed or less than 10%. Please plug the battery or charge it more than 10% for Windows firmware update. Strike the F1 key to continue. This battery is dead. Anybody wondering, this is a Dell Inspiron P24T or P24T001. It is an Inspiron 11 3162. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this, let's move our screws up out of the way, tweezers. We need to flip this sideways like that. And let's disconnect our battery. We have 3 screws to take out, and our battery should come out. Okay, so battery, ship battery out of the picture. Now we could go ahead and throw the battery in quick, but it doesn't end there. So what we're going to do is power up, okay? See what type of message we get, if any, because we're running straight from AC adapter now. What's it going to do? What's it going to be? Okay, battery is removed or less than 10%. Same message, meaning we have no battery. So, a battery hooked up gives us the same error message as no battery. What does that tell us about this battery? This thing, we know already offhand from talking to the person that this sat for a long, long time without being charged. Chances of this battery being revived, slim to none. What we do have is a battery, but we're going to hit the F1 to continue and let it get up to the user screen. There goes Windows, so we can get to the root of this problem. And voila, here is our problem. We're going to go to this PC. One gigabyte free of 28.5 gigabytes. And this is already after I uninstalled a few things for Windows 10. Not to mention future updates and the user installing apps. Okay, there was 425 megabytes left before I uninstalled an app to get to that, or an update to get to that point. Now, yes, I know you can plug in a USB drive and expand your storage. Okay, I know you can do all that to get Windows installed and updated. I'm talking about your common user. Do they want to play the, let's balance 28.5 gigabytes worth of storage? No. The idea is to make this a usable computer for your average person that doesn't want to have to manage stuff like that and plug in a thumb drive or flash drive or leave an SD card in and have Windows move some stuff over, because Windows, truth be told, only moves certain things over. Can you set it up pretty good? Yes. Will an update break it? Likely. It'll break it at some point. Is your average user going to know how to do all this? No. Shut down. Well, gee, nothing. We don't have a spot for RAM under here. We don't even have a fan cooling this. We don't have a SATA port to install an SSD. So we're dealing with a little 32 gig, 28.5 gigabyte usable system on a chip drive, eMMC drive, kind of like in your Android phone. So let's get this out of the way. Okay, we have some soldered on RAM. Not great. We do have a spot for if we could find a heat sink, like a fin stack and everything. There's no vents in this, so it's not going to do much. But say you could find a tiny thin fan to put in and blow across it, that would do something rather than nothing. But no, we're not going that route. We're going quite a different route. This is problem number 1. Solve. We've got an aftermarket battery. Let's make sure it's going to fit. It does. We need not worry about that. Hopefully it's not dead from sitting on a shelf. If it is and never been used, we can probably revive that one instead of the one that is dead. Anyhow, that's out of the way. 1 problem solved. 2 problems. We can't expand the RAM. Okay, so RAM. But we have no socket for it. And more importantly, it's not an SD card, not a USB drive, not even an external drive. We want it to install to the main storage. So we need an SSD to go in this thing somehow. Got a couple problems. No SATA port, and we have to chop stuff out of the case. First things first, let's solve the SATA port issue and the RAM issue. This is where this model being crap and other models not being so much crap come in. And yeah, for a functioning laptop, should you swap the board? Probably not. But we want to make this usable, not laughable. Okay, so let's get this ribbon cable out of our way. Oh, look at that. We have a socket there for an M.2 card. And I think everything will line up. It will. M.2 Wi-Fi will go in. Our ribbon cable will go in. More importantly, we have a SATA port. And we've got that nice little port there, which is going to have way more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we need to check the thermal paste on this older board here. See what kind of job it's doing, but it is definitely time to put the lime in the coconut or the car in the cow. Whichever way you want to look at it, we're making hybrids here. Right, maybe the cow and the car. No, we'll do the car and the cow would work better. All right, perfect. Let's get this board out of our way. We also have to hope this board is good. It was reported to be good, but as with anything eBay, you never know. Okay, goodbye. Hello. They're about the same thickness for copper pieces. Doesn't really get in the way of the SATA drive, but it stops the RAM from being unplugged. I feel bad for anybody that bought this kind of laptop. Maybe with Windows 8 if you never ran updates, or a stripped down version of Windows 10 where you rip out all the bloatware and make it so you're not going to get updates and you never want to install any apps. Just an internet browsing machine. Possibly, but come on. I mean, why would you use the ignorance of your customers to sell a piece of shit like this? I understand it makes you money though. But why? God, why? Oh, it's awful. This is slightly less awful, but at least this is a usable solution. And just put a little blob on here. It's true. The perfect amount of thermal paste is hard to achieve on such a tiny chip, but fret not, it can be done. We're getting very, very quickly to the worrisome part of this hybrid. I think we can succeed on this one. Fairly certain. All right, our battery's going to go in there. Everything else is connected except for our daughter board. Ribbon cable, we need to save that. Actually, we can pull this board out of the way. We have a bit of work to do. The main problem is to get an SSD in here and booting from it, you have to have the space for it. When this flips together, what's going to be on this quadrant here are these spacers or plastic standoffs built into the case. That's right where your drive needs to be. So we need to clean that out. It's for support. We can leave this one part of it, but I'm going to take a quick look and see. We can even leave that. We basically need to clean from here, here, over, out, and make it flat. Let's take our daughter board out so we have something to work with. Let's see what fits off of this side. So, we don't need to clean that. We basically have to go from, we're going to try from the corners here to there, the whole way across, and clean all that out. Before we decide to modify something, let's give it a test. We're locked out of the BIOS. Can it detect a drive? The RAM. We get into the BIOS and boot to this monster. We got a screamer. Says we gotta open this thing up and see what's going on with it. Hopefully it's just a message. I forget what the beep code is. The tough thing to memorize with beep codes is they all mean different things for different computers. Usually when you have a line of computers, beep codes will apply to that series, like the XPS or the Dell Optiplex. But they're not transferable usually from the XPS over to the HP Envy. So we're going to swap in some different RAM. Sadly, this is only 2 gigs. It won't read, either this 8 gig stick is bad or it just will not read it. I don't know at present time. We're going to plug in and see if we get a beep or see if we get what we get when we open this. Because it wasn't the power switch. I believe it's the hall sensor or lid switch that was triggering this thing. Or perhaps when we plug this in. Let's try that. See if that fires it to life. Oh, okay. So RAM could have been our problem. The AC power adapter wattage and type cannot be determined. That's because it's an HP. We're running Dell. All right, audio. Okay, so I don't know where it died. I know we had audio. Anyhow, let's recap quick. I hate doing this. Hot air is running. 2 gig boots, 8 gig won't. I have another 8 gig stick of PC3L to try and a 4 gig stick of PC3L. Hopefully it's not locked out at like a board level, BIOS level for, hey, you're not running 8 gigs, you can only run 4. So we'll get to that. We have to make room for the SSD now. That's another thing. Getting all this to cut, and that's where I pretty much realized there was no audio. Hot air only if I have to. I have it here at 160 degrees Celsius just to blow a little hot air to soften up. But so far it's been easy just to run once or twice and cut through. I'm going to cut on this side instead of this side of this back wall right here. I'd like to think that this will support the SSD and keep it from coming unplugged from the saddle port, but I'd like to see. The harder part's going to be cutting these supports out because they need out for the SSD to sit in there. So let's go for that. That's what I don't want to happen, stuff sliding around. Do we have to cut this little retaining wall? Or is it going to fit? Let's find out. Let's dock our hot air. Let it go to sleep. Actually going to take that out of there for right now to check the fit around the SSD. And no flex. Right in the middle where it's not on an SSD, like where your SATA port's here, right past this is where your SATA port is. When you get to the SSD, it's solid. And then over here you have more flex. We just put the car in the cow. This hybrid is going to work. Back to Windows. So it went from a slightly polished turd with no space to finish updates or install any user apps to a more polished little computer that's usable. I call that a win. It is a hybrid. I am going to make note of what computer this is on the paperwork, the work order, so future people will know, hey, if it goes to another shop, you know, yeah, they should be able to tell by going and typing in, you know, the service tag, but the service tag is wrong. It has a different motherboard in it. Should you have to be able to tear it apart to figure out what it is? No. At least not with a hybrid. Anyhow, as always, thanks for clicking the link, coming over, hanging out. Try to resist the urge to do the bigger, better, faster, more, newer all the time. Fix up something, order something awesome. Cut down on the e-waste, the scrap heap. Save, preserve this awesome island Earth that we all share together and inhabit. We will see you in the next video. Don't forget to check the video coming out about the PS4. That's the one we're giving it away, so you need to comment, subscribe there. Thank you.